Do you remember how to do all this?
I don't know. It's been a while. I kind of forget the way we do it.
Oh, hey, Justin.
Hey.
What's going on, man? It's been like a second.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been we missed a couple of weeks there, maybe 2, 3.
I think so. Oh my goodness. I mean, so much has happened. I've been trying to keep up with it all, but and I'm sure our loyal listeners have been chomping at the bit, waiting for us to, announce something or say something. But then there are people who just don't know who we are. Who are we?
That's right. Who are we indeed?
I'm Andros Sturgeon.
And I'm Justin Womack.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Marketing Geeks podcast.
Marketing Geeks.
All right. So, we're back. Why are we doing this? Tell me what's going on.
Well, I mean, I want to stay in touch with the audience of this show. I mean, we had some loyal listeners here that really enjoyed listening to our banter and our kookiness. And I feel like they deserve an update and deserve to know what's happening in the world so that they know how to react to things like Elon Musk now owning Twitter and running Twitter, and things like FTX crypto crashing, and things like knowing for sure that all my investments went to shit. They need to know that for sure.
Oh, if they've listened to any of our shows, they would already know that.
Well, they knew that there was a 100% chance of it happening, but it did happen. I just wanted to confirm that the pattern continues.
So you are a man who once self-identified as crypto bro in your profile.
Oh yeah, totally.
How do you
crypto bra?
How is your stance on that now?
I mean, I'll tell you what, it's evolved a bit. I am much more cautious with crypto at the moment. I think that, I mean, it's at a very significantly low. We're at 52-week lows right now for Bitcoin's down around like 15,000 or something. I mean, that's still, if you think about it, that's still pretty high considering that before the last crypto bull market, before the surge, the all-time high was around 19,000.
Yeah.
So we're just a little bit below that. And in 2020, Bitcoin got as low as 3,000, I believe, around there.
I know. And I wanted to buy a bunch of it, and not a bunch of it. I'm definitely 1,000 there. So buy a little bit of it. And my brother talked me out of it. So
whoops.
Don't listen to your brother. Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying this low here, the low that we're at right now is not the low that it was then.
Yeah.
However, after this FTX scandal, where I heard it described as the Enron of our time, the Enron of our era, or the Bernie Madoff 2.0. Basically, they were laundering money, and they were borrowing money from FTX to pay for debts from the owners, other companies, things like that. They were just illegally using money, and eventually the house of cards collapsed.
Do you know what their the fatal flaw was for FTX though?
What was it?
The absolute fatal flaw. And it's the fatal flaw that Bernie Madoff learned the hard way. You don't rip off rich people. You could rip off the rubes. You can take money to build a wall. You can, and spend it on yourself. You can run, multi-level marketing scams on poors, but you rip off rich people, man. There is a reckoning.
Tom Brady was on the list. Maybe it was Tom Brady.
Did you hear what happened to Brett Favre?
A little bit. I don't know the details about the Brett Favre story, but I know that is implicated in in some sort of like a charity or scheme or a charity that ended up like stealing welfare money or something along those lines.
Yeah. So there was a plan. Oh, what state is this? I want to say.
He played for the Green Bay Packers. That'd be Wisconsin, I assume.
Yeah. Anyway, he was involved in this huge scam. This guy just got like 31 years in jail for it. And basically, what they were doing is they changed the laws a little bit. And this was all done under the Republican government. And what they did is they basically made it so the funds for poor people were going to things like talks by celebrities about fatherhood and right-wing church groups. And it turns out they were basically just all the money that was supposed to go to help poor kids was just going into rich people's pockets. And Brett Favre, who's a multi-millionaire, got enough funds to buy a volleyball court for his daughter. And so it turns out that basically anything that would be able to help these kids never reach them at all, because there's this idea of how people who need welfare are. And so there's a narrative, especially in more conservative circles, that the people who need the help are drug addicts and they're lazy and blah 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 blah. And as somebody who's had to take public assistance myself just to get through a really tight time, I can tell you that's not always the case. And so anyway, they just turned it into a slush fund, and people got really, really rich. And Brett Favre they gave him a volleyball court for his kids.
Well, wait 1 second though. Are you saying that you're not a lazy drug user, Andros?
No, I'm not denying that part of it at all. But what I am saying is that despite being a lazy drug user, I still make my commitments and take care of business. So
now Brett Favre was like, my understanding is that he has not been criminally charged, civilly charged, I believe, and he may be facing criminal charges in the future.
Oh, silly wabbit! Rich people don't get criminally charged for anything.
Well, somebody did though. I think somebody involved in the share. They had a fall guy. I believe they had a fall guy.
That was the guy who was controlling the funds, and he's the one who got thrown in jail. And it's like. Man, it's just more corruption. But speaking of corruption, okay, first of all, I got to get real about something. One of the things that kind of like hit me the wrong way is the last podcast we did, and this just didn't get me excited to do too many. Just I don't think I shared this with you. Definitely didn't share it with the audience. But I got a personal message from someone on LinkedIn after our last ones. After I went off, if you listen to my last show, I went off on how bad of an idea Elon Musk owning Twitter would be. And he said that he was a fan of the show for years, and he was going to stop listening because he felt that my tirade about rich people owning social media companies went against free speech. So he was going to stop listening. I was just like, man, I mean, I don't know why people are still cheerleading Elon Musk. It was like the guy, he's so rich, it's disgusting. He's probably doing all the cocaine, and and I said this to you the other day. Him buying Twitter and what he's doing now is the equivalent of a rich guy buying an airplane while it's mid-flight and then firing the pilots and then just touching buttons and turning switches and knobs just to see what happens. And I don't know.
I told you on this. Like, I just think I'm not sure that he really wanted to buy Twitter. Like, I honestly think that he was like, it was a troll job gone bad. He was really enjoying kind of playing with the audience and like teasing it. I think he liked teasing it more than he actually wanted to do it. And somehow things escalated and it got out of control and he ended up buying them. I mean, the man, he has 3 companies, right? So he's got SpaceX, he's got Tesla, and he's got now Twitter.
Boring company.
Well, Boring Company, that's a smaller company though. Yeah. And it might be under the banner of another one of those. I'm not sure. But I mean, you can't, it's already pretty impossible to run 2 companies at a time, let alone 3. So for him to even like attempt to pull this off is kind of insane just because his resources are so stretched thin. And then to watch what's happening now, I don't know. I mean, it's been less than a month. I mean, it's been reported that it's like chaotic over there at Twitter. There's been initially, I believe, around 75% of the staff was fired within the first week or so at the initial firings. And
at the time of this recording, just a few days ago, he said that basically he wanted people to work 80 hours a week for the same amount of pay. And so massive people quitting, but it's almost like, remember that movie Brewster's Millions that came out?
Never heard of it.
Oh, John Candy and what's his name? Anyway, someone's shouting at the podcast right now saying this is the guy. Okay, anyway, but Brewster's Millions is about a guy who inherits millions of dollars from a rich guy after he dies, and he has basically 30 days to spend like 30 million. And if he can do it, then he's going to get like 100 million at the end of it. And so the whole movie is just him trying to spend this money, and he can't give it away to charity. He has to like get rid of it. So it almost feels like I have this theory that Elon Musk, Vladimir Putin, Kanye, the FTX guy, all of these guys, they know something we don't. Like the world is going to end in like 6 months, and they're just like YOLOing it. There's like, whatever, I'm gonna buy Twitter, just.
But it's the same pattern. Like when Sam Bankman-Fried is the guy who owns FTX, right? Mm-hmm. And like if you look at some of his tweets he sent after the scandal broke and after like things started to fall apart, and they fell apart really quickly, he doesn't see himself as doing any wrong. Like even to this day, I'm pretty sure like in his worldview, he did nothing wrong. He was just, borrowed a little bit of extra cash here and accidentally collapsed the company and, people's life savings. But I really don't think the guy thinks he did anything wrong. We've covered other people that are in this same kind of profile, like the guy that did the Fire Festival. Isn't that McFarland? Is that right? Billy McFarland. That's the name. Billy McFarland.
Yeah.
Well, he got out of prison, and he already has tried to do another scheme to run a treasure hunt in the Bahamas, but the Bahamas government intervened and said, we want nothing to do with you. You cannot run a business here. So he's been kicked out over there. And then there's Elizabeth Holmes of the crazy medical.
Theranos.
Yeah.
11 years. She just got 11 years.
11 years, but a lot of it, I think, is going to be out on house arrest. And then there's also like Anna from Inventing Anna show. Have you watched that one?
I didn't see that. I don't know the story.
So she was this the con artist who pretended to be a millionaire, billionaire heiress, rich heiress. And
yeah. Okay.
So she is, as far as I've seen, she's just out on house arrest right now or something like that. And she's already trying to do her next scam. So these people are just like, they're toy with the whole United States justice system. And as soon as they're out, they're like running the next business, and they're instantly kind of back to where they were. And it's kind of like a sad tale that people just fall right back into it. I mean, there's Jordan Belfort too, who some people might get behind because he plays himself more cleanly these days. But I mean, same kind of thing. He had a similar scandal, fell out, gets out of jail, and he's instantly kind of back making money again. So it's kind of this fascinating pattern.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that these people can continue to get away with it. It's and I guess so I just came back from the United States. I flew into DC and then drove to West Virginia where my aunt lived, because my aunt just passed away, and she was a hoarder too. So long-term listeners of the show would know that my mother died, and I went to her house and had to clean it out. It was like quite an ordeal. I think it was like show 56 or something. And so I had to fly out there, and this woman, she would just spend her days ordering stuff online, charging up her credit cards, sometimes $500-$600 at a time. And she would just buy like Uggs and makeup and blouses, and she never went outside. She was almost a shut-in. And then once her credit card got too filled, she would go to the bank and they would give her a 40-year mortgage on her house, and her house was completely paid off. And in a few short years, she went from owning her home to owing $226,000 on a home that was worth $260 if it was pristine. And it wasn't. It was definitely not.
On top of all the credit card debt too, then, or did she pay off the credit card debt with that loan, and then it became
with the loan? Exactly. Okay. And then she would charge him up again. And so she did everything right. She had a pension and the whole bit, but at the end of the day, instead of transferring that accumulated wealth to, like, say, my son to help him go to college, she just bought stuff. And it was kind of eye-opening, because it's like this giant transfer of wealth from this older generation to the banks and to the credit card companies and to corporations like Amazon, and it's not leaving anything for this generation. Not that I'm whining about it. It's just more a matter of, it's mind-blowing to me that this is allowed. They gave her a loan last year to pay off her credit cards, 40-year loan. And this woman was 76, right? A 40-year loan paid off in the year 2054. Like they know what they're doing. So the fact that people are willing to just give up their their finances like that. There's so much opportunity. And I think you said it famously once, if you can generate fear in people, you have an opportunity to make money.
What's the fear that makes people buy things? Well, I guess there's a couple of them there. I mean, she's buying just like comfort items, though. It sounds like.
Yeah, that was just like dopamine hits. That was it. And I just looked at her credit card bills, like $500 a day for makeup, and she never went outside. My wife, when she went to go help me with this whole process, I'll never forget her face. She grabbed one of the UGG boots. There was tons of them, tons of these really high-end UGG boots, and her eyes popped out of her head when she like looked at the size and it was her size. She's like, "Oh my God!" So, yeah, my wife got my inheritance in the form of UGG boots and makeup. I got a cool knife that was like a $300 knife, never used, in a box.
Well, I was gonna say, just like shopping addiction and buying. If you're addicted to buying or like addicted to debt, that's actually in the DSM, which is the manual of mental disorders that is used to issue psychiatric diagnoses. So it is actually a condition that people have. It's considered an addiction.
No, totally. No, absolutely. And there's nothing you can do about it. And what's interesting here in the Netherlands, they actually have like these public services where if you're an old person, they'll come check up on you. And if your house is messy, they'll send someone to clean your house and like just take care of basic necessities. There's definitely like some community involvement here. But in the States, it's just like, I don't understand how this type of thing is legal. Everything from like, obviously this woman has a pattern of, some sort of mental illness, and yeah, she had stacks of boxes. She was a hoarder too. So stacks of boxes unopened. She had 6 Sonicare toothbrushes, the very high-end versions, like the ones that are like 150 or 170 or whatever. She had 6 of them. I was like, what would you do? Like brush your teeth and then the battery wears out and then you just buy another one? Anyway, it's an eye-opening. So to your point, the fact that these people are allowed to do this sort of thing, yeah, it trips me out. They just, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you're rich, just don't rip off rich people. You can rip off, poor people all you want.
The cardinal sin. If you rip off people that are in the 9-figure range, that are making that have at least 100 million in the bank, that's when things go awry. You're good up until that point.
That's exactly, and that's why Elizabeth Holmes is now looking at 11 years. And if the rich people got their money back, then maybe it'll get whittled down.
Well, circling this back to crypto, because this is we went off here after talking about crypto. I do think that the FTX scandal, it will be the catalyst to finally get government regulation started with crypto. I mean, it's looking more and more like that is going to be the case. And if that is the case, I expect crypto to hit a lower bottom than it already is at. And then, I mean, there probably will survive. It may not survive, but I think it probably will survive. And there'll just be a lot less coins out there than there are now.
Which
and
it'll
mirror the .com. It'll mirror the .com bubble or burst, where 99 or 95% of these coins go to zero, and maybe 1% to 5%. Or even less than 1% survive, and then those ones can then start climbing again. Or I don't even know exactly how things are going to play out.
Yeah, there's no way to. And this gets into a much bigger question. So a lot of these coins were marketed in a certain way to, they would get celebrity endorsements and whatever. And I'm curious about how that's going to be a factor later on. I think that if you are someone who puts your name behind a product that's scamming people as a celebrity, you should definitely suffer some sort of consequences. But
well, on that note, real quick, so I mentioned Tom Brady earlier. He was in a commercial for FTX because he was an institutional investor. They lost a ton of money there, but he was also in a commercial with Giselle. I believe both of them, at least Tom Brady for sure, has been named in a class action lawsuit against FTX. And I believe Larry David is also named in that suit because he was in a commercial. And there was maybe 1 or 2 other celebrities that I'm blanking on. But yeah, people that were in those commercials that promoted a crypto that ended up being a house of cards Ponzi scheme essentially are now in financial trouble. I mean, it doesn't mean they're going to necessarily lose money on it, because I don't know if that civil suit is successful or not. And I don't know how well the language in the commercial protected them too, but they're at risk. And now the SEC has also started going after certain crypto influencers in like 2020, 2019 that were promoting different coins that went under. I believe some of them were, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I know that they have definitely gone after a few influencers involved in coins. I'm not quite sure on the specific coins.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, one of the recent updates though was that there were subpoenas filed against people that were promoting the Hex coin, which is kind of like one that always seemed like it was a Ponzi scheme, but who knows? And things are escalating. So I think we haven't seen the end. Yeah. The people that were promoting crypto, if they did so in a way where they overpromised and made it, forgot to cover their bases. And even if they did cover their bases, I'm not even sure they're safe, but everyone that promoted crypto is not out of the woods yet.
Well, it's just that it's the same story, man. People just want to, they want an easy way to make money. They're willing to gamble their cash on speculation, and there's always an easy target. And with that, I'd like to have a quick message from our sponsor. Are you looking to get rich? Maybe you should try the Marketing Geeks Magic Rich Pill. Simply take one of these pills and you will get rich. Simply order a bottle. It's $9.99 per week. And in no time, you too will be rich. Now back to the program.
Side effects include losing all your money.
Justin, did you hear about our new Marketing Geeks Magic Get Rich Pill?
Oh, yeah. That's pretty amazing.
Fuck. We're in the wrong business, man. I'm telling you. If I had no conscience, I would swear to God, I would start a cult. I mean, it would be so easy to do. It really would be. God damn it.
I mean, that's what I think. I think that's the difference, though. I think a lot of these people that we mentioned in the show, and I think this is a good theme, they don't have a conscience.
Exactly.
And they're able to keep doing the same thing over and over and getting similar results and probably end up in jail again at some point. But
and you hit a good point. And this is really something that I've come to this realization lately, is that, people are saying like we just had the elections. Why are people voting for these dumb candidates, like these people who are obviously absolute crazy idiots? Why? And the argument I keep hearing is, well, it's an education issue. We got to educate people. It's not, because I know some really smart, dumb people. It is a compassion issue. It is the fact that we have lost our sense of compassion in this country and in this world, I think, to a certain degree. And there's been sort of this idolization of people who don't know how to behave. And they run around and act like crazy people, and it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's really a compassion issue. I think that the reason that people like voting for people who are going to hurt the right people is because they feel that when they're hurting the right people, they're going to be on the other side of the boot. And they're not going to get in their face. But I have to tell you, when I went to West Virginia, where my aunt lived, it is the poorest state in the nation, the absolute poorest state in the nation. And they closed down the coal miners businesses down there, the coal business, because people aren't using coal. Obviously, we're getting into renewables, but everyone there, almost everyone, had it in their head that the regulations from the Biden administration and the Obama administrations were part of the problem of why the whole state is dying, even though it's been basically Republican controlled. I mean, it's Mnuchin is the guy who's one of the senators there, but he's not to blame. I mean, the opioid addiction there is through the roof. It's bananas. It's like really witnessing America in decay. And I think it's really just like people are not compassionate towards other people's experiences, and that's what it all comes down to. So it's been really sobering for me, because I also think about this with everything about how Twitter is being run, and also just how I'm doing my marketing these days. Like, is this an integrity? Is this thing that I'm doing, this method, is this really a way to help people? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. So like, let's say apply it to marketing here. So like what goes through your mind when you're considering using a certain, I don't know, a certain technique or what? Like, how are you adjusting your marketing based on it?
Well, I for the past couple of years, ever since I got kicked off of Facebook for live streaming on Facebook, this podcast, we live streamed a podcast where I told people, stop putting money into Facebook, and everyone should get off of Facebook. And then I got locked out, and I can't get back in due to community standards. I don't know if there's a connection, but that was weird. But I still hold to that. Like, don't put any money towards Facebook in general. I know people are successful with it, and
But you love Mark Zuckerberg still, right?
oh yeah, the Android alien.
And you have your Oculus headset, and you're in the metaverse already, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
I'm speaking to you from the metaverse. But it's really about how people are being authentic, because a lot of people, since they're not using Facebook anymore, they're putting their junk on LinkedIn. And so you're seeing a lot of people now. This is like this new trend I'm seeing, where people talk about how they had to overcome something, and they talk about like what they're suffering and how they're pulling through, and it's like the same damn stories over and over again. And it's almost like when they cut the head off of a dragon, three more heads pop up, but they're all more rancid than the next ones. So I mean, I'm just trying to figure out like how to be more authentic when everybody is doing this faux authenticity thing. But what's not happening is people are not really listening and being compassionate about other people's experiences. And I think that this is the major problem that we are having in our world today, is this very issue.
I think that's an interesting point. I mean, this has been going on for a while. I mean, it might be amping up again. I've spent less time on social media this year than in prior years, but I have seen that a lot. Because a lot of these coaches, companies, whatnot, teach how to craft your hero story. They teach you how to craft your hero story because stories are a way of kind of bypassing your conscious mind and kind of getting directly into your subconscious mind. The idea is, at least that's the theory behind them. So if you're able to tell like this crazy hero story of overcoming horrible adversity and how you did it, and then tie it back to some product that you're selling, which is what these people are doing, it can be a successful sales tactic. So it definitely is being abused. I will tell you that. And when you see the same verbiage in somebody's story or something that it feels like it's a copy and paste job, it does feel very, very inauthentic, and it should raise red flags for anyone who's paying attention and notices that, because that is a clear sign of not being authentic or aligned with the message that's being put out there.
So let me ask you this, because you do a lot of this type of thing. I mean, this is actually your bread and butter, where you help people and like become their personal brand and tell their stories and stuff like that. So has the oversaturation of this type of marketing, have you run into like personal issues with this?
I mean, I think there's growing backlash to it. I think more and more people are kind of waking up to how paying. I think there is. I mean, it's a combination here. There's value in a lot of these coaching programs to an extent, and there's also some. I don't know if the word would be abuse or overcharging going on some ends as well. I mean, everything is subjective in this market, so there's no way to prove something's value, and they really play off of the subjectivity of this market. But I mean, I do think most coaching programs aren't really going to be able to justify a six-figure price tag legitimately. I mean, they can argue all they want that they help somebody make six figures. I mean, that's a potential argument, but I think there's just growing awareness around the industry, and just some of the techniques that are used. I mean, the techniques are very, very persuasive. I'll use the word persuasive. They can be, they can really push people's boundaries, and they're designed to. You have people really, really diving into those influence tactics that we did a whole episode series on from Robert Cialdini. But things like commitment and consistency are an interesting one, because what you'll hear in sales calls sometimes is people will ask you, how committed are you to making this change in your life? And somebody might, and they say on a scale of 1 to 10, you might say, I'm a 7. And then they might respond back to you and say, well, if you're a 7, I mean, that's really like you're just like a 4 in disguise. You're not advancing yourself. You're not really actually committed to this. So I mean, you're either a 10 or you're nothing.
Right.
Then they finally say, okay, you got me. I'm a 10. They say you're a 10, perfect. You're committed to this change. That's awesome. And then they get back into the sales pitch. Later on, they list the price. Let's say it's like a $20,000 coaching program. Person says, well, this isn't really the right time, blah, 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 whatever objection comes up. And they circle back and say, wait a minute, you just told me you were a 10. You just told me you were committed as a 10. Are you telling me now that it wasn't true? And they use this. This is basically what a principle called commitment and consistency that comes from Cialdini's book, because people really don't like the idea of being seen as inconsistent or incongruent people. And sometimes that will trigger them to change a no into a yes. So it's it's kind of fascinating how some of these techniques are used.
But it's manipulation. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just manipulation. And, so one of the things that I've been doing is trying to get, and the algorithms seem to support this, is that I've been doing a lot of like testing on LinkedIn marketing and just seeing what people are responding to, and especially as people jump off of Twitter, they're looking for other places to spew their dumb ideas or whatever, myself included. I mean, I wasn't on Twitter, but and that's just as a side note. People are saying, "Well, we need something to replace Twitter," and there's that part of me that's like, "Do we? Why? I mean, do we need social media at all? It's a mistake."
Man, Twitter, like. I've never been much of a poster, but it is addicting to read it, but it's not healthy. No. It's very not healthy, and I recognize that it's not healthy, and I still have trouble getting off of it sometimes, just because it hits the right dopamine spots. It's a straight up addictive place to be, and it's a negative. It's just adding negativity into your life that is not necessary and not something that's going to move anyone closer to their goals in life, especially if it's something that you have no intention. I mean, you have no control over a lot of what's happening on Twitter. And if you want to have control over it, you're going to have to invest like your entire life into into politics and things like that to make an impact.
And not only that, it's there's kind of this other part of it too. I was reading this really interesting article about the nature of time and how we would invest time. Like reading a book, you're gaining some sort of information or experiencing a story. But then TV came along, and with TV, you have a period of time that you are transported to the story, but nothing really happens. You just kind of have a story, right? You're not building anything. You're not doing anything.
No interactivity too.
Right. It's very passive. But social media is this whole other thing. I can absolutely easily sit through an hour, 2 hours of just infinite scrolling Reddit. And at the end of it, what do I have? I saw some like funny cat videos and an insane, like, oh, that guy like got hurt on that thing. And here's some outraged news articles and some growing marijuana tips or whatever. And that's it. Like, but do I even remember any of it? No, it's just like and I can't keep my hands off of it too. So I have to check myself. I have to deal with my own addiction as I talk to my son about the very same thing. And we'll do, I want to do a special episode on YouTube about something specific that happened with my son. So tune in next time for that. We'll definitely do that. But circling back to LinkedIn, what I have found is that people who post things that are those personal stories, text with personal stories, if you announce something about a change or a pivot in your life, they do really, really well. Multiple pictures of people do very, very well. But if I ever post something that's like, here's our new product or whatever, or a really slick video, like a super like pro, really well done video. But if it's just me and holding my phone going like, hey, everybody, I'm here with this thing, those do far better. And so it says to me that people are hungry for authenticity, but people are also being duped by the idea of authenticity when it's really just marketing.
when it's marketing in disguise. Yes.
Yeah.
But I do, I mean, some of it shines through and some of it doesn't for people. And I think it's based on people's experience and how much exposure they have to the techniques that we're talking about. I mean, for us, we're in the marketing space and we're probably connected to a lot of marketers and we're seeing it over and over and over again. That's not the same experience everybody else has. So for me, it's tough for me to gauge how other people react to it because I just look at it as like blatantly obvious, but I guess it's not necessarily the case for everyone else, you know?
I guess so. I mean, that definitely has some part of it. And, you know, we have some of the most intelligent listeners in the podcast space. So they probably are aware of this too. I mean, obviously this all works, but I think that now, like with a sobering look at like FTX, a sobering look at like how we now see that politicians are just the most corrupt individuals imaginable. I mean, I'm pretty lefty, but Jesus Christ, Pelosi, like not voting to for insider trading is like, yeah, it's like, come on.
Well, it'd be one thing, like it would be one thing if she didn't wasn't worth over $100 million. I mean, it's like, that's not money that came from your Congress services, not directly anyway. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
There's too many coincidences of investments that were made right before major legislation that raised red flags. And it's like, and it's not just, that's not just her though. I mean, there's plenty of Republicans, plenty of Democrats.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
That have all been doing it. It's a racket. Yeah.
It's a racket. The whole thing is a racket. And like I've come down to this, like, hey, there's definitely some people who I can get behind, but I almost feel like the American politics is like the Republicans and the Democrats. It's like living in this abusive household where the Republicans are like the alcoholic father who comes home and beats the hell out of the family. And, you know, and the kid's like looking to the mom to help. And she's just like quietly knitting in the corner, not saying a word. And maybe afterwards says, maybe you were a little hard on him, dear. And that's it. I mean, you know, nothing happens. And I feel like we're the abused children in America.
You're not going to see a change though, because you do have you still have distinct policy differences between the two parties, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they do exist. And then you have two options. So I mean, you really get I think most people get hung up on one or two issues, and they just will not budge on those one or two issues, and then they will vote for the party that,
which is,
it doesn't matter what anything else. It doesn't even matter who the candidate is. People just don't care about that part of it.
No, politicians have just become like a sports team. They become influencers. They say the things that, you know, I don't know. Did you see The Boys this season on Prime?
I haven't seen the show at all, so I've never seen it.
Oh my God. You've got to watch The Boys. It's absolutely great. And it's basically, the premise is, what if like a fascist right-wing dictator type had superpowers and was like Superman and undefeatable?
Interesting.
Like how would you handle that? But on that note, what are you watching, man? What shows are you into right now?
Well, I finally finished Better Call Saul, which was definitely my favorite thing I viewed the entire year by far. I absolutely love that show. That show just wrapped the entire series. Just wrapped. It is complete. It was 7 seasons, 6.5, or I forget how many seasons. But I absolutely loved it. It was an interesting show because it's a very slow build, and it's like the first couple of seasons are actually pretty slow. I mean, I still like them, because I still into that kind of thing. I don't really need a lot of action for me to enjoy something, but I've talked to a lot of people that like kind of gave up after the first season. They're telling me it was just like too slow, but like, if you stick around that thing it's an amazing show. And by the end of it, it's like straight up like cartel war. So it's fun.
It's definitely Shakespearean. And, I actually binge watched the whole thing. I waited until it was over before I started watching it. Totally worth it.
Which I think is smart, by the way, because I did the exact opposite and like forgot a lot of stuff along the way.
No, I wait till at least season 3. I call it the Lost rule. Like Lost broke me at the end. I was like 5 seasons for this, and I no. But on that note, Andor. Have you seen Andor?
Well, wait. Tell me more about what are your opinion of Better Call Saul? Finish that.
Oh, better. I mean, it was great. I also slow. I hate to admit it, but there were times when I actually took if you look at the Netflix app on a tablet, you can bump up the speed. And I listen to books like two and a half, sometimes three times the speed anyway. So because Better Call Saul was so slow, I had to kick it up to 1.5. And I'm sorry, Vince McMahon, but
Vince Gilligan, Gilligan,
Vince
right?
McGilligan. Yeah, Vince McMahon is the WWF guy.
McMahon is WWE, WWF. Yeah,
he had nothing to do with Better Call Saul.
Nothing at all. Yeah,
but I have to admit there were some key moments in that show where I really felt I was watching some of the best television ever made. Like like the acting, the writing, everything was so well done. Definitely worth a while, but it's not for everybody.
Did you watch Bob Odenkirk, who plays Saul Goodman? Did you watch his movie Nobody that came out? I think that came out this year.
Oh, I did see
It's
that.
like John Wick. It's like John Wick, but with Bob Odenkirk as John Wick.
Yeah.
Did you like it? You like that one?
It was okay. It was fun. It was like
it was entertaining. It was entertaining. Yeah. Okay. On to Andor. Go ahead. On to Andor.
So Andor. Have you seen Andor?
I have not seen Andor yet.
Oh, then we have nothing to talk about.
I mean, I enjoyed Rogue One, which I know the character comes from Rogue One, and I enjoyed the character there. I mean, they played him off like a pretty good scumbag in that movie, and I want to watch it. I will eventually watch it. I did watch Obi-Wan. We could.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't know. I haven't had a good Star Wars experience in a while, so I've not been as excited to watch those shows.
Yeah, and that's why it has the lowest rating of any TV show that they've done. But it is the absolute best one. It is what Star Wars is supposed to be. It is. I would even argue not only is it the best Star Wars content to come out in the past 30 years, it's one of the best TV shows of the year. Like, hands down. The writing is so good. Andy Serkis, Andy Serkis, Gollum.
Yep.
And he has this pivotal key role, and he is so good in that. Like, you really see like why this guy is a master, and so I implore anybody who's still stuck it out to this part of the podcast, please watch Andor if you haven't. It is well worth it. Disney needs to. This is what they need to do with Star Wars, is this type of content. So definitely do that.
And then I've watched a lot of the Marvel. I've seen most of the Marvel content. I did not watch Moon Knight. Was the one I haven't watched yet, which I probably was the best one that I that I skipped. I skipped the best one apparently.
Yeah, that was good.
But I did see the Thor movie, which was like kind of. I mean, it's just really designed for like kids, I would say.
It was pointless. It was just pointless.
It was pretty pointless. It was okay. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but not.
So let me ask you this. And you saw Black Panther 2, which I haven't seen, so no spoilers.
I saw Black Panther 2. I saw She-Hulk. I watched I watched like 2 episodes or 3 episodes of Miss Marvel. Had trouble getting through that one also. So
do you so the bigger question here is, have we reached peak superhero? Do you think people are just like tired of it? They've seen everything.
Yeah, I mean, we've reached, okay, so I don't know if we've reached peak box office or not, but we've definitely reached peak content. Like, they're going to have to slow down. They have too much coming out right now. So I think we've reached peak content levels where they've hit a threshold where there's burnout, and also like you have these Marvel fans, like even myself included, who were kind of watching Marvel content based, on the fallacy of what's the fallacy I'm thinking of, where you've put in so much time and it's you can't.
Oh, the sunk cost fallacy. Yeah,
it's the sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, sunk cost fallacy.
But eventually, if I can't keep up and I fall behind, then it might be enough to make me stop.
Yeah.
So because I haven't been able to watch Moon Knight and all of Miss Marvel, and then then there's She-Hulk, and then there's Thor and Black Panther and whatever else came out this year.
Yeah, there's definitely a glut of content, but there's one other issue, and this goes back into like what we were saying about the same triggers being used over and over again for marketing, and that is story beats. The story beats are all the same, to the point where my 8-year-old son will watch a movie and he'll go, "Oh, yeah, this is where they're going to lose the battle, because this is, we know that this is the movie is too short now, so they can't win. So they're going to build up to the next scene. Like he's already calling the story beats like before they happen. Like
here's where the MacGuffin comes into play because they need to stretch the movie out for an extra hour.
Pretty much.
So we need the MacGuffin to get the thing, and then we'll do the whole battle at the end.
No, I taught him what a MacGuffin is, and so he's now familiar with some of these concepts. But I just I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just turning him into a geek. Obviously, I am. But do you think though that story has also, like, we've seen the stories now, and it's just kind of they're rehashing. There's only so many things you could do with a superhero story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that might be some of the reason that you're seeing Marvel pivot. They haven't been able to change the story, but they're trying to change like the setting or the elements of the story. You see this big pivot to female characters. This like a massive pivot to the point where like every Marvel movie this year has featured like a prominent female character, or even in every TV show as well, except barring Moon Knight, I guess would be the exception there. Yeah. But I mean, like Thor brought in Natalie Portman as Lady Thor. You have,
but no, Moon Knight has a female superhero, but they do it very well. Actually, I think it was one of the better Marvel shows. But I think that they're starting to step on their own toes with this content. And I actually just canceled Disney Plus because I just felt it's like, I don't know, it's like all these things have the same flavor, and eventually it's kind of, it's just kind of bland, you know? It's the same thing over and over again.
Well, I was telling you the other day too that I think some of the recent Marvel content has kind of abandoned some of the character arc building though, because, and I think that they made an overcorrection when they brought in, when they made this pivot to female characters, they overcorrected to make up for the sins of the past where, you know, female characters weren't developed enough and they were seen as weak, and perhaps they weren't able to stand up for themselves and things like that. But now you have these stories, and it started with Captain Marvel, but it's also with like She-Hulk pretty prominently in the beginning, at least the first episode, where the characters kind of like are already good at what they do before the story starts. And then they get their powers, they master their powers in like 5 minutes.
Right. There's no heroes.
And then they just go on to the story.
There's no hero's journey.
And they barely struggle, and they barely have any sort of like struggle in the whole arc of the movie or show. I mean, they're always like kind of in control. And I do think there's a problem with that.
Yeah. And this ties back into what we were saying at the very top of the show, which is there's a trouble with authenticity and people trying to market it in such a way that it feels real, right? And so I guess if we can sum up this show, because we probably need to close it out, but it really comes down to, and this is what my sense of inquiry is moving forward. As I get older, really, what can we do to be authentic marketers, and be authentic in our lives, but do it in a way that we're not trying to sell people something, that it's not about profit margin and, expansion, yet still be able to participate in the democratic and capitalistic projects, and processes.
And I think the best thing that you can do is to if you're going to be selling people things, is to only sell something that you 100% believe in. I mean, it starts with how you feel about the product that you're selling and how it's going to help people. I mean, if it's something that's really, that you know is not really going to help somebody, then I mean, you're going to come across as inauthentic on some level. Even you could try all the authenticity techniques in the world, but if you have some part of you that thinks that what you're selling is manipulative or not going to benefit the other person, it's going to create a conflict. Doesn't mean you can't be successful. You might be able to overcome that anyway, but it's going to create a conflict in yourself. So,
but what if you're a psychopath? Well,
that's different. So if you're a psychopath, you can do what you want and get away with it. Because that's what we've learned in society. Is that's good. If you're a psychopath, you're good. All you got to do is avoid jail, and you're going to live a great life. That's the life of the psychopath, apparently.
And don't rip off rich people. And if you can generate fear, you can sell people things.
Yep. Now, going forward, I want to keep doing these interviews with you, or these shows with you, as we can. So I don't know what the frequency would be, like once a month, once every 2 months. I don't know. But I do want to release a few kind of content things, because I've gotten really into, I've been like reading up more about like body language, human behavior, and more of these kind of persuasion techniques. So I do want to record a few educational, that are just purely educational episodes that are on some of those topics.
Let's do it, man.
And so I want to mix some of that in there too.
Let's get the band back together.
Yeah, let's get the band back together. So I want to do like kind of a hybrid here of just like pure educational ones, and then some of these where we just shoot the shit.
Yeah, and I think we definitely need to, the overall arching theme I've heard from people is we need to bring back the sex robot report. That has to happen.
And they want more Andros political opinions. That's what they want. We already heard that from
man, I don't need, I don't want any of them.
I'm just kidding.
I don't want I'm tired of hearing myself. Yeah. But all right. Well, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andros Sturgeon.
And I'm Justin Womack. And we are people.
And we are the Marketing Geeks. And we're out.
Stay classy.
Marketing Geeks, come on, bring your friends. We'll learn marketing from distant lands. Andros Sturgeon and Justin Womack. The fun will never end. It's Marketing Geeks.
Marketing Geeks.